My words of wisdom today are actually a quote and a directive. A quote that I've always loved. And actually, it's been attributed to a couple of different sources. It's been attributed to Franklin Delano Roosevelt, and it's also been attributed to Ambrose Redmoon. And it goes like this. The quote is, courage is not the absence of fear, but rather the decision that something is more important than the fear. And everything that was valuable that you ever accomplished in your life, you had to do that afraid. You know, you went out there not knowing what the outcome might be. What I will say is that I have always believed that fearlessness is way overrated. You know, we use that term a lot. We say, you know, that Tom Brady, he's fearless. You know, we describe people by this quality of being fearless. And I think fearlessness is way overrated. In fact, I think being afraid is natural. And I think being afraid, I think that oftentimes it can summon the best in us. But being afraid is natural. You should be afraid. You know, if you're going out to your car at night and you hear the rustle of someone behind you and that adrenaline comes and you could run a mile in 3 minutes flat, that's good fear. You know, so there's a lot of fear that we have in our lives. It's good fear. And in these times where we're dealing with fear so much, that some of that fear can actually be a good thing for us. It can be a bad thing for us if our anxiety levels have gone out of control, and it gets back to, asking ourselves, what is it that I can do about this, and what is it that I cannot do about this situation that I'm in. But I'll share with you a story, one of my favorite stories about encouraging someone to do it afraid. And years ago, I had this wonderful student in my class, and I had emailed her, and I told her, I said, Justina, I love to share your story. Do I have your permission? She said, of course, Dr. Bird, you have my permission. But I had this student in my class. Her name was Justina, and I'll tell you something. This wonderful woman that when she was in our class, you could hardly wait to see what kind of a comment that she was going to have on something that was going on that week, because every comment that she made, she was hilarious, she was wonderful, she was so fun to be around, and the students just loved and adored Justina. She had this wonderful, bubbly personality, but beneath it all, she was scared to death. She was scared to death, and she had gone back to school after having been out of school for a while. And I remember she's writing her first paper in APA format, which is a very strict format for graduate studies. And I said, Justina, just do it afraid. Just write that paper and do it afraid, and we're going to get your feedback. We've got the writing center. We've got a lot of things. Just do it afraid. And she wrote the paper, and it wasn't the best paper. It wasn't an A+, but you know what? It was a great product of her just going after it when she was afraid. And I had Justina in several other classes after that. I had her in a clinical counseling skills course in which you watch students through a two-way mirror, and all your classmates are watching you in a counseling session, and you're video recording these sessions. It's really anxiety-provoking, and I began to tell her, I said, just do it afraid, do it afraid. And pretty soon that became a mantra between many of the students in the class, just do it afraid, do it afraid. And I had her in another class toward the end of her program, and she was in group counseling, and she had to facilitate groups. And she said, oh my goodness, my anxiety. And I said, Justina, do it afraid. And she went after it, and she really turned out to be one of the finest counselors that ever graduated from our program. And there's an awful lot of really, really, really lucky clients out there that have her in a counseling session right now. But where this story goes is that she graduated with her degree, and 2 weeks after graduation, I get this wonderful email from Justina, and it's very simple, just a couple of sentences. And she said, Dr. Bird, you have no idea how those 3 words have changed my life. I've always been a woman who's had poor self-confidence, and I didn't believe in myself, and now I know I can do anything that I take on in my life. And she said, I told myself that if I graduate, I'm going to have a permanent memory of those 3 words, do it afraid. And she sent me this picture, And it was a wonderful picture, and it was a tattoo on her forearm, and it had all these colorful splashes around this, and it said, "Do it afraid." And I remember getting that email, and I'm there at my computer crying and thinking, "Oh my goodness," you know. But I guess on the other hand too, that when your students start tattooing the stuff that you're saying in class, it gets a little scary. But it was so wonderful to have that as a gift back to me, that we really can make a difference. And it's also an indicator that words change people. Words change people, and we should never hesitate to lift each other up with our own gratitude, and you know, by encouraging others. It's such a beautiful word, encourage, and to be able to help each other and lift each other up. So with that, I'll just say, you know, courage is not the absence of fear, but rather the decision that something is more important than the fear. And every day we have a lot of people going out there on the front line in great fear, and I applaud you, and my heart is with you. And we're all just going to have to do this thing afraid. We're going to have to do it afraid. And so thank you.